So we're wanting,
Ah.
Dude, are you on TikTok?
No, I'm on Facebook Reels.
Warning, this podcast contains violence, sexuality, gore, and other horrible and disturbing things. Listener discretion is advised. Also, the hosts of this venture are ignorant dipshits, so please do not take anything they say as fact. And enjoy the show.
Now, are you sitting comfortably? Good. Then we'll begin.
Today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be.
It is our basic human right to be forgotten.
A second plane now has crashed into the other tower of the World Trade Center.
Putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
The defendant shall be incarcerated for the rest of her natural life with no possibility of parole.
You are not machines. You are not cattle. You are men.
We were somewhere around Barstow, on the edge of the desert, when the drugs began to take hold.
Occultae Veritatis.
Hello, and welcome to the OVPOD Halloween of 2023. This month we will have 4 episodes coming your way. 1 exploring another 10 lake monsters around the globe. An episode about the horrible things Christians are doing to their version of a haunted house. 1 episode of us on location, on the tracks of a local ghost train. And today's episode, setting off the 2023 OVPOD Halloween month. It has a little New York, a little voodoo, a little child's play, and a lot of intrigue and horror from a tiny, creepy doll. I'll pass it off to Richard. Enjoy your OVPOD Halloween.
Hello, occultists. I am Richard Bigley, and recording in studio with me today, I have
Sage Murray.
Ooh, Gallifrey.
Leon Felger. What's the name of the show?
We're Occult, because we're Canadian, Veritatis.
That's
and
right.
I'm Sage Murray.
Perfect, flawless intro.
Thanks, bud.
Oh, and guests, also guests.
I'm the soundboard demon.
And
Ellie V.
Yeah.
We've been here for, I don't know, what, like 4
So
hours?
many hours.
4 hours, and
it's like
this
plus 35 Celsius in here.
And this episode is like the 3rd one, and we still have 1 more to record.
There's
so
some mild to moderate heat exhaustion coming in.
Yeah, we've all melted, I think.
I kind of want to turn the AC on, but then it's just going to be noise reduction the whole time, and it's not worth it.
I'll carry on to make it get this over with.
Carry on my wayward son.
I shan't.
The Catskill Mountains are a section of the larger Appalachian mountain range located in the southeastern part of the state of New York. It's pronounced Appalachian because if you say Appalachian, they will throw an apple at you.
They will.
These mountains are a tourist destination for people seeking a vacation away from New York City, with many large resorts drawing tourists. People can be found biking, hiking, camping, skiing, all sorts of fun activities.
Hunting Mothman.
Maybe hunting Mothman, yes. Tucked away in these mountains is the Sundown Forest, which is home to some hiking trails and some caves. And speaking of hiking trails and caves, what's your poison?
That was a weird segue.
So, what's your poison?
So for the poison, I brought my soda stream machine, and I got 3 bottles of water here so we can carbonate it, and I have assorted syrups. So
can you make me a strawberry one?
Yes, I can, Leon.
Make it happen.
Okay.
Wow. So demanding.
Yeah. So demanding?
We did it!
Funny
well, folks, that's
joke.
the end of OVPOD. Thank you very much for listening all these years.
I have officially peaked as a voice actor. I retire now.
So we're wanting
Dude, are
are you on TikTok?
No, I'm on Facebook Reels. Sounds like me after taco night.
Did the sound come through? Was it good sound?
Strawberry soda.
Can someone point their mic at the soda stream? There.
Yeah, Mochi's always concerned.
Ever visionary.
Oh, that was a good suck for Richard Binkley.
Only the best for Richard Binkley.
Only the
That's
best
right.
suck.
Solid head game there.
All right. Cups, glasses. This is the cane sugar.
Mmm. The head is delicious. Frothy and sweet.
Nice.
If you want strawberry, just... Is this it? This looks like strawberry. You can throw...
I like it. It tastes like kvass.
Is that the Ukrainian, like, liquid bread?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's good stuff. Oh.
I like it because it's like a little different flavor than your, your usual Coke or Pepsi, you know?
The carbonation is also better than you get in a can or a bottle, I think, too.
You know, the cane sugar was good on its own, but I'd fuck with a little bit of the
Strawberry is good.
the strawberry one, yeah.
Toss some strawberry in there, you say?
Yeah. Strawberry cola-ish. That does sound sci-fi as fuck, though.
It does.
That was a gorgeous sound, Brent. Well done.
Good to hear.
Like, if that just pooped out a clone of Richard, I wouldn't be surprised.
Fun fact, the northern Appalachian Mountains are in Scotland.
Greg and I lead normal lives, and we go about our life the same way that everyone else does. We just happen to be caretakers for very strange objects.
The way that we got started collecting cursed objects was complete accident. It wasn't something that we had set out to do. Never would have imagined myself doing this. We were just interested in general weirdness.
People think of cursed objects as being kind of fun and spooky, but working with them, it feels a lot less about that and a lot more about that kind of heavy responsibility to keep some of these objects with us under lock and key and maybe out of the wrong hands. And maybe in a place that's safer not only for everyone else, but for them.
This is the cursed deer skull. We drove down to Nashville to pick up from a woman who saw this in an antique store and took it back to her office, and almost immediately her employees started getting sick. One of her employees was hit by a car, and then the wall that this was hanging on actually fell down and took half of the building with it.
But of all the cursed objects the Newkirks have come across, there is one that is so harrowing, they refuse to keep it in their collection. It is an unsettling wooden effigy known as the Crone.
The crone really is the definition of kind of a cursed object. It is a carved statue of a woman. Someone at some point in time took this object and attached the noose and the nails. It was given to us by some hikers who found it in the Catskills, off the beaten path in a cave. They took it home and initially started to experience really frightening things. Their animals were behaving strangely. They were finding wet footprints on the ground, and they didn't know what to do. Someone who we had worked with previously put them in contact with us. And after, having some communication with them, they sent the crone to us.
People who would get near the crone, they would be just overwhelmed with anxiety.
On January 2nd or 3rd of 2016, two hikers strayed from a hiking trail and found themselves at such a cave. Being adventurous, they entered the cave. There had been a recent campfire in the cave, and according to one of the hikers, locals in the area say there are devil worshippers, and that they will go to these caves to sacrifice animals and do their spells. This cave is way off any trail, so it would be a great place to practice the dark arts. In the cave, they also found something curious. A small wooden statue of what appears to be a woman in a dress. I would say about 4 to 6 inches tall. There are nails in its eyes, 3 small nails for each eye, sunk into different depths, and at different angles.
Wait, you ready for the pictures of it?
Yes. Whoa.
Yeah, don't like that.
That's a little disconcerting.
Fuck that.
I love it. I display it prominently on my mantelpiece.
No, keep that away from my house. That thing will kill me in my sleep.
Right. Yeah, you're the yellow text.
The statue really wigged me out, but my buddy decided to take it home with him even though I told him not to. Everyone says that there's devil worshippers that come out here to sacrifice animals and do their spells and shit, so I didn't want anything to do with this thing.
So they leave the cave and go to their homes. A few days later, the hiker receives a phone call from their friend.
He thinks the statue is haunted because it keeps moving from its spot and he keeps smelling weird stuff. Says he can't sleep at night because banging keeps waking him up. Now last night, somebody knocked on his door, but no one was there when he opened it, and he's super weirded out. He thinks he is a ghost because of the statue.
So, what's everyone thinking so far of this story? What do you think? What would you do if you were this hiker or his friend? You've got some photos of it there. What do you think of what you see?
I'd keep it and wouldn't be afraid of it because I don't believe in the dark arts.
I mean, if my buddy pulled that out of a cave somewhere, I'd absolutely fuck with him as soon as he brought it home.
That's what I figure, you know?
I'm in the camp of technically don't believe in this stuff, but like in the chance that it does exist, I'm not gonna fuck with anything. So I'm not gonna like chance it, but like, oh, this little like hung noose voodoo doll with nails in its eyes. Like I could take it home to my house and like I don't want the off chance that anything beyond reality might actually attack me.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, you know, I'm like, I don't believe in that, but at the same time, I really have no reason to have such a creepy fucking statue at my home.
Just
so
in case.
I'd probably just kind of leave it and never think of it again, you know?
As a demon from hell, anything's a dildo if you try hard enough.
I guess so.
Creepy statues with nooses on them and nails sticking out of the eyes.
I feel like the nails would be hard to get past any sort of sphincter, but
Yeah, that's where the courage comes from.
That's where the fun happens.
That's how the light gets in.
Man, if knots are hard to get past, try nails. God damn.
I will not.
Very deep dive.
Look, somebody left it there for some reason, and I don't need to have that shit in my house. I got enough stuff already.
Maybe it's a load-bearing creepy doll. Okay, buddy.
We don't know what they did with it. It might be a load bearing.
Yeah.
You gotta go to the spot.
Or it might have been a dildo.
Yeah, who knows?
The nails are just markers for how many times.
So this hiker brushes his friend's experience off as just coincidence. He was thinking that the way to end this would be just to set it on fire. But just to be sure, he reaches out to the experts in the field, the subreddit of Paranormal, using a throwaway Reddit account. So he describes his experience in the post.
My friend showed up here at like 11:30. He's out of his mind scared. Never seen him like this before. I'm going to do my best to remember everything he just told me because it was a lot. But long story short, he's sleeping over because something is in his house. We found the statue on Sunday, and like I said, I told him not to take it because it gave me bad vibes, but he took it anyway. He's been an atheist as long as I've known him, so when he told me something was going on, I thought he was just fucking with me because I know I like to watch paranormal shows, and he always made fun of me for it. It started out just as knocks and banging, but he said that by Wednesday he started waking up in the middle of the night feeling like someone was watching. This kept happening through the week, and every time he'd wake up, he would smell a really strong scent like pond water. He doesn't believe any of this stuff, so he just ignored it until a few days ago when the statue moved from his desk into his living room. He says that every night since Thursday, it's moved into a different room than where he left it. He thought it was his dog moving it around because it smelled funny, but his dog won't go anywhere near it. He says that she's actually peed in the house 3 nights in a row, and she's never ever done that. Last night, someone knocked on his door at 3 in the morning, but when he went to open it, there was no one there. His motion lights weren't on, and there weren't any cars in his driveway. He said that he opened up the door to look outside, and that's when he knew that he made a big mistake. Like, he just felt like he shouldn't have opened his door. That's why I made this post in the first place. Yeah. At that point, I didn't have any reason not to believe him because it had gone way beyond a joke, and he actually sounded really, really fucking scared on the phone. He kept telling me that he was going to burn the statue because he knows that something followed him home. Anyway, he stayed up all night and then decided to go to the movies to take his mind off of it. When he got home, he said it felt like everything was fine and he decided to finally go to bed. This is where it gets super fucked up. He says that when he woke up, which wasn't until like 10 because his dog was barking like crazy. He said the pond water smell was stronger than ever, and he went out into his hallway. He saw all of these muddy footprints everywhere. Not like shoe prints, but barefoot. All of his doors and windows were locked. After someone knocked on his door, he freaked out and made sure everything was locked up. So there's no fucking way anyone could have gotten inside. Sitting in the living room was the fucking statue, which had moved again. And he says that when he started to go near it, he heard somebody breathing, like his grandpa with a tracheotomy. He pieced the fuck out, and now he and his dog are sleeping in my guest room tonight. I've never seen him this scared, and he even started crying. I have no idea what the fuck to do. I have no fucking idea what to do. I believe him because he has no reason to lie to me about this because it is way too far to be a joke now.
Thoughts?
I don't know. Maybe the ghost of his grandfather isn't like too far fetched. Maybe that's why he felt uncomfortable when the door opened because you have to close the damn door. He'll let the draft out. I'm sure grandfather would have promoted that even in death.
Who touched the thermostat?
Well, and it doesn't necessarily say that his grandpa with a tracheotomy has already passed. It could be like an alive person. It's just that kind of like,
yeah,
kind of
Darth Vader breathing.
Kind of.
Yeah. First comment on the post advises him carefully about this action.
Don't burn it. If there's something attached to it, all you're going to do is set it loose to attach to something else. You know, like you or your friend. You might have luck cross-posting it over at r/occult and seeing if they can identify it. If you start to truly think you're being haunted, DM me and I'll try and point you towards someone who can help. Also, that shit is creepy, dude.
Another Redditor offers other advice.
Please return it and offer a tribute. Like the other posts have said, tobacco and alcohol will be fine as a tribute. The worst thing you can do is just toss it away without making some sort of amends. Either ask it or sternly command it to remain within the statue and then place the offering and leave.
But this poster was promptly corrected by someone else.
Great text. You don't suggest to someone who knows nothing to sternly command anything or anyone to do anything as their first experience. That is incredibly fucking irresponsible.
So there's quite a bit of discussion and debate amongst the field about what exactly we're dealing with here. Redditor Callus TMP offered similar advice.
Okay, so you know those horror movies where there's a dumb blonde chick that always does the most moronic thing possible out of fear and panic? You and your friend are being the dumb blonde chick. Take it back to where you found it, put it back exactly how it was, leave some cheap rum and tobacco there as an offering, apologize profusely for being dumbasses, it'll leave you alone. You don't need to worry about running into whoever left it there. It's generally custom to leave these things where they lie and never come back. Also, even if the mage returns, most mages are actually semi-responsible people who will be understanding, especially if you show proper respect in returning the artifact. So don't forget the rum and the cigar. Whoever the mage is it mage or mage? Mage, okay. Whoever the mage that made this was, they didn't make it to curse stupid kids playing in the forest. They might be a little miffed that you took their shit, but they're not going to put a curse on you for being a dumbass. They'll probably figure that whatever stupidity it was that led you to pick this thing up and carry it home in the first place is punishment enough. Once you put it back where it belongs, go home. Sprinkle a little salt over your doorstep, burn some sage if you got it handy, and do the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram. You can find it online. The disturbances will cease, and any residual negative energy will be cleared out. Next time, don't disturb anything that looks like it came out of a horror movie. This should go in the same category as don't poke grizzly bears with sticks and don't chug battery acid.
Like this guy, straight shooter.
Just tells you how it is.
LBRP, Hermetic Orchestra, the Golden Dawn.
Yeah.
Other users commented. Error 372 has the following to say.
So what you're saying is you've not seen any of this happening, and you're taking your friend's word, especially after you voiced your worry about bringing bad stuff to him? Sound like he's screwing with you and he's really setting to get a laugh out of you.
Yeah, there's certainly some skepticism as well as then user Rabidity also echoed a similar sentiment.
Every time something like this is posted here, it always follows the same line of, follow this weird/creepy shit. What is it? We fucked with it, stole with it. It creeps us out. Now what do? It happens so often that it's really hard to take anything seriously anymore.
Moving along, an edit to the original post talks a bit more about the hiker's frustration.
I know that everyone says not to burn it or whatever, so what the fuck do we do? He wants me to go to his house to get the statue tomorrow, but I'm too fucking freaked out to take it back to where we found it in because I don't want to see whoever put it there.
Luckily for this hiker, help was on the way. Another Redditor commented the following.
If you're too nervous to take it back to where you found it, which is completely understandable, I'd be happy to handle it for you. I see someone mentioned my email in this thread, but if you want to remain anonymous, just PM me and I'll give you an address. Your friend made a mistake, and honestly, it's not like he would know better, especially if he's a skeptic/atheist, or was until he made a new friend. This kind of thing happens all the time, and it gets fixed all the time. Don't freak out, don't burn it, and please, don't throw it into a lake. A few things. Were there any personal artifacts near the figure? Jewelry, hair, cloth? You mentioned a fire. Did it look like there were any pictures burned in it? Was there a funny smell in the cave? Any markings on the cave wall, symbols, paintings, graffiti? Any evidence of the devil worshipping you've heard rumors about? Expand on the rumors if you can. Any detail helps. Does the figure have anything carved into it? Check the base. Does it feel heavier than it should? I promise you and your friend will be fine. It sounds like your friend might have been a little bit stubborn in acknowledging that something strange was going on, so whatever is attached to the item had to work hard to get his attention. It's just temporary. When you go back to his house, and you should accompany him since you were present when he took the statue, calmly explain to the figure that you didn't mean it any harm, and that you're sorry you disturbed it. Then ask it what it needs. Speak to it like you would speak to any of your elders. You're gonna feel ridiculous, but trust me. One of three things will probably happen. Either you'll just sort of understand what you're supposed to do with the statue, it will start acting out again, or everything will just stop. In the event it just stops, congratulations. You just calmed a restless spirit. If you suddenly know what to do, go do it. Congratulations. You just calmed a restless spirit. If it acts up, PM me, I'll help. That said, if the thing you're suddenly supposed to do is in any way relating to self-harm or the harm of others, or just has a generally negative feeling, wrap it up, put it in a box, and think happy thoughts. As tempting as it might be to just throw it away or destroy it, don't do it. There's people who will handle that for you. I've been collecting these kind of things for a while now, and they're usually just trying to send a message. I wouldn't be surprised if someone put it in the woods because they were scared of it too. I know you've gotten some offers to sell it, and while I can't offer you any cash for it, I'd be happy to take it off your hands so that it can be properly studied, documented, and hopefully understood. I can give it a safe place to live and a guarantee that it won't be destroyed. Whatever you decide, you'll be fine. Just be smart, chill out, and think happy thoughts. Feel free to PM me if you have any questions, need a hand, or just want to offload the statue.
And then it goes quiet. However, a few months later, in July of 2016, this story emerges again. A post with the title,
Remember those hikers who found the cursed statue in the Catskills cave last year? I'm the guy they sent it to. And yeah, it's definitely haunted by something nasty.
The content of the post describes a series of events.
Long story short, they took it home, and boom, bad haunting. Poltergeist activity, apparition, and wet footprints manifesting along with the strong scent of pond water. A full-blown haunting. if he was to be believed.
And the post goes on.
Half a year later, I can say with a good amount of certainty that the carving, which we've nicknamed the Crone, is definitely haunted. I don't say things like that lightly, but within hours of the object arriving at my office, I'm fairly certain it pulled Jesus off a crucifix hanging on the wall and was the cause of phantom knocks, wet footprints on my couch, and we even caught it moving with a motion-activated camera. The last straw was when it tried to drop a television on my head.
And then the post directs users to an article on this other site titled The Crone of the Catskills, detailing the experience of accepting such an item.
Dana Matthews, my wife and fellow museum curator, carried the box up to the Weird HQ office and placed it on my desk. We carefully cut the package open to reveal a hard lump wrapped in a stained pillowcase. As we slowly peeled back the cloth, rusty nails hammered into wooden eyes became visible, followed by a noose tightened around the statue's neck. Whatever purpose this piece was created for, it wasn't nice. The figure looked menacing, but there were a few things that were a bit confusing about the piece. The most obvious detail was that while the carving itself looked weathered and aged, as did the nails, the rope wrapped around its neck couldn't have been more than a year old. The carving had obviously been placed in the cave recently with the new addition of the noose, if the entire thing wasn't just a hoax to begin with. As we do with all new items that arrive at the museum, we snapped a series of preliminary photos capturing the artifact just as it was when it arrived, jotted down some notes, and took a few measurements. Then we locked the office and left to run errands. When you've been sent countless haunted objects through the years, it's hard to shake the preconceived notion that the creepy porcelain clowns, weird paintings, and African idols will never live up to their alleged reputations. They rarely do. So for us, the arrival of the Crone was just another day at the office. Dana and I were startled by a commotion in the office. Thinking it was our two cats, I volunteered to break up the fight, only to realize upon walking into the office that the door had been closed the entire time. Nothing seemed out of place, and the cats were nowhere to be found. In fact, our feline familiars were in another room entirely, cowering beneath the bed, afraid to leave. I walked back into the office in an attempt to look for the source of the noises, and everything seemed in order, until I almost stepped on Jesus. Lying on the floor was a plastic figurine of Christ, normally found nailed to a crucifix. As I turned him over in my hands, I realized that he was missing an arm. On the complete opposite side of the room, swinging silently on a cross hung in the corner, was Jesus' missing appendage. Something had not only managed to pull Christ from the crucifix without removing it from the wall, it had thrown the figure across the room. I've still never been able to find the nails from Jesus' hands and feet. Sitting directly between the now desecrated cross was the Crone.
Now, with such a powerful object in their possession, eager to capture all the action, they set up a motion-activated camera.
For nearly 2 months, the motion-activated camera sat in the room, but when we checked the SD card each morning, there was no evidence of paranormal activity. Sure, there were occasional bumps in the night, but when you store hundreds of haunted, cursed, and supernaturally influenced objects in your home, you come to expect it. Still, there was nothing to point toward the Crone being to blame for any of it. Then, on March 2nd, between the hours of 3 and 4 a.m., the camera triggered 3 times.
And here we have the video on the display.
There's an object we've nicknamed the Crone, which is a carved statue of a woman with rusty nails hammered into her eyes. And she's one of the few objects in the traveling museum that we don't let people handle because we feel like it's just too dangerous. After an incident that ended with a figure of Jesus being ripped from a crucifix on the wall, we placed the Crone under 24/7 surveillance. And after a few weeks, the motion-activated camera finally triggered 3 times between the hours of 3 and 4 in the morning. Now, it was easy to see some odd light anomalies in the images, but it wasn't until we stitched the photos together that something really interesting became visible. The Crone moves by itself. See more evidence of the paranormal and find out how you can visit the world's only traveling museum of haunted objects.
The statue turned like I don't know, would you say like 5 degrees to one side?
At most.
Yeah.
Or a car drove by outside a window. And
or a car drove by and changed the lighting, which triggered the camera.
I'd like to note the "I Want to Believe" poster on the wall in that museum. That's tasteful.
That's what I feel about a lot of paranormal stuff. Like, I think if it was real, it'd make the world a lot more interesting, but I don't believe it to be. Oh, like this reads a lot like a horror story. A collector of haunted objects finally runs into the one object that's actually haunted. Because it matches kind of like the beats of a horror movie so well, it leads me to believe it's somebody just telling a story, you know?
Or they're just trying to drum up hype for their overpriced antique show.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
Well, my first thought when I saw it was that, like, initially, especially after hearing that the noose was new, but the statue was old, was that, like, it seems like, you know, an old memorial for someone who passed, like kind of like a graveside memento or a gravestone. And then somebody decided, oh, this looks gruesome. Oh, instead of like something like pretty or nice, or whatever, they just interpreted it as scary. And then they put the noose around it. And I'm like, oh, they should take the noose off. That's sad.
Maybe the noose is the haunted part and there's nothing with the statue. Or maybe it's like one of the nails in the eyes that's the haunted part.
Yeah, the other 5 nails are fine.
The other 5 are like fine, the statue is fine, the noose is fine. It's just that one haunted nail.
Or the metal was exposed to radiation and is giving everybody hallucinations from radiation poisoning.
I'm worried that it's a voodoo doll and some poor woman somewhere is getting nails pounded into her face. And getting a noose put around her neck.
Yeah, new one every year.
And
that's
like,
fucked.
Yeah.
It could have been easily faked. Like, maybe the doll is that old. Maybe they found like an old doll in an antique shop. And just went, I'm going to dress this thing up to be scary. I'm going to pound some nails into its head and put a noose around its neck and leave it in an area where hikers will stumble across it. Like, it could be a setup like that. It could have even been a setup by the people who made the post. Like, I know there's lots of things like, oh, they had no reason to lie, or like, he wasn't seeking attention, he just kept the story to himself for most of his life. Not that these apply to the people who found the crone, I'm just talking in generalities about people that make these things up. Oh, he hasn't changed his story in many years, but like, it would lead many to believe those people are telling the truth, but there are people who are that good at lying and will keep the lie going for years and years to keep the ruse about. There are people that are fantastic liars that can keep the ball rolling. And maybe they faked it.
Now, the other question is, how can they be sure if the movement, assuming it did move, was from that particular piece? Because, I mean, if you've got a room in a museum full of haunted objects, maybe one of the other objects, one of the dolls or one of the statues or figurines or whatever, moved it just to mess with you.
I don't believe any of this.
Oh, I'm sure you do. You're going to have nightmares tonight.
No, I don't believe in the paranormal. Sorry.
Well, and
Sounds like somebody who's trying not to believe in the paranormal.
The lady doth protest too much.
It's best not to.
All right. Initial analysis showed a few strange anomalies floating in and out of frame, one of which even appeared to have its own light source. But it wasn't until we stitched the frames together that we discovered something really eerie. The crone had moved, ever so slightly, on its own. Things only get stranger from there. Several weeks later, with no further anomalous activity captured, Dana called me into the living room to ask me why I'd stood on the furniture after a shower, pointing at the wet footprints that appeared to stand on the back of the couch. Only I'd not taken a shower for hours.
They describe a sense of dread around the house following this, and the scent of pond water, describing it as...
There was an undeniable sense that something was with us, just waiting for the right moment to reveal itself.
As time went on, the smell of pond water became more and more intense. They compared their collection of haunted objects to misbehaving children. They'll try to ignore them at first, but this was not working on the crone. It was time to level with the statue.
I stormed into the office, grabbed the carving, and marched back into the living room, slamming it down on the coffee table. I sat back down on the couch and began addressing the entity directly, explaining... Let me start this again. I sat back down on the couch and began addressing the entity directly, something that should never be done lightly. I explained that we were happy to give the crone a home, but as this was our house, we had rules. It's a speech I've given to most of the objects in the museum at one time or another, and one that tends to work. If we'd left you with the hikers, I said, you would have found your way into a fire pit or a garbage can. If you found your way to a priest, you'd be bound and buried, or worse, locked on a dusty shelf for years. We're happy. Stop laughing.
Listen here, Sonny. You may have been big shit back in the cave, but this is my house. Listen to my rules.
Trying to get the haunted statue to mow your lawn every Thursday.
Fucking lecturing the ghost. Come on.
That's it. You can pack your bags and get out of here.
We're happy. So go ahead. Go ahead making fun of the statue.
You can't do shit without your balls.
We're happy for you to live here, but only if you respect the situation. If you've got if you've got unfinished business, we'll help you put it to bed. But if you don't treat us respectfully, you're going in the box.
You have to respect my authority.
In the box is a phrase we've reserved for artifacts that don't play nice, have nasty side effects, or are just plain malevolent. These objects, unlike the rest in the collection, have their own dedicated lockboxes, solitary confinement, if you will. Usually, the threat of a lockup is enough to pacify a situation. Not this time. As soon as I uttered the magic words, Dana sprang up from the couch, drawing my attention to the sound of rushing water from the other side of the house. We'd dealt with a broken pipe in the recent past, and the sound of water spilling onto our laundry room floor was a panic-inducing noise. We rushed toward the sound, only for it to cease as we entered the hall. There was no water, but behind us, back in the living room, we could hear the dull thud of something hitting the floor. The crone had managed to roll off the coffee table and under our television stand.
Oh no!
Like, this isn't even close to a Euclid class thing here, right? Like, this is totally a safe object.
Oh, you can have the entry-level employees deal with it, man.
Right?
Yeah, you have D-class throw this in a locker and it's fine.
Yeah.
As I knelt down and reached under the stand to grab the carving, Dana yelled out and rushed to my side. When I turned to look at her, she was propping the television up with both hands. The screen had nearly fallen directly onto my head, as we shared a brief look of fear and agreement. 3 loud knocks reverberated from the living room wall, rattling the picture frames and flickering the light bulb from the single lamp providing our room with light. In the box it is, I muttered.
That's why you don't watch professional wrestling in the same room as haunted objects. They'll start doing fishing moves with TVs.
Stone Cold Stunner.
Wait a second. I just want to draw attention to something. This museum lets everybody who walks in off the street touch potentially haunted objects.
Except for that one.
Except for that one.
Yeah.
Just how unsafe is that for... Like, first off, that's terrible museum curation.
But they've given these things the talk. So because of the talk, they know who's boss, and they don't haunt or try to escape or whatever.
See, you make fun of the talk, but I give it to everything that I bring into my house, and my groceries have never fucked with me.
That's true. You've circumvented the haunted broccoli.
Yeah.
I've definitely had some beans that have fucked with me.
Listen here, we're gonna bring in a bunch of nice people in here to see you. And I don't want you to embarrass me in front of them. So you behave in front of those nice people paying to see you.
So, what would make this object so paranormal? Psychics have been said to have the most visceral reaction to it.
Visceral.
Psychics. Fuck all of you. Leave me alone. I'm trying to read with this attitude or whatever.
It's precisions.
Precisions. Okay. Fuck all of you. So what would make this object so paranormal? Psychics have been said to have the most visceral reaction.
Nope.
Visceral. It's a visceral. It's the Canadian rise. It's the accent. Fuck all of you.
Reaction.
I support your pronunciation.
There we go. Thank you.
I can't.
I didn't mean to stir up such a controversy.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Kind of a pot and kettle thing going on there.
Some think it was a vessel for inhuman spirits, such as demons. Some believe it was a curse intended to blind and kill an unlucky victim. The museum curator feels that the crone was created as an attempt to summon the spirit of a local witch for purposes unknown. thinking someone wanted to commune and contain a particular spirit. So, what of the crone statue these days?
Last weekend, my friend and I went hiking in the Catskills. We found this really creepy statue while fucking around in some caves. It has nails in its eyes and a noose around its neck. Everyone says that there's devil worshippers that come out here to sacrifice animals and do their spells and shit. So I didn't want anything to do with this thing, but my buddy decided to take it home with him.
Nine times out of 10, the things that people send us don't ever do anything strange for us. But that last 10% is where things get really interesting. And occasionally, there's 1% that changes the way that we think about haunted objects.
I'll just leave it to the words of the museum curator.
The strange sense and powerful feelings all but disappeared, but the shadowy presence never quite left.
And with that, I am Richard Bigley, and in studio with me I have...
Sage Murray as the museum curator.
Leon Filger as a commenter on Reddit.
Wood Gallifrey, I'm the lectury fuck that bosses the ghosts around.
Don Kessler, and also a angry Redditor, apparently.
Allie B, and a scared as shit friend.
I'm the soundboard demon. They threaten me with the box regularly.
But you enjoy that.
Oh yeah, it's great fun in there. As many eyes as I can have nails in.
And this is coming out in October, so happy hauntings, happy Halloween.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
It will be now.
Yeah.
And from everybody at OVPOD, don't let the soundboard demon in your box.
It's ill-advised.
Good night.
Love you, bye.
Bye.
Be safe.
Playing us out this episode, all the way back from 1926, Virginia Liston, with her song, Evil Minded Blues. Enjoy, and see you on the next episode for some more interesting bullshit.
Good man will make
Once again, thank you for tuning in. We've been OVPOD. Remember to subscribe, listen to our large backlog of other episodes, and tell your friends, family, and enemies about us. See you all next time.